Philosophy Wisdom Stories. The Triple Filter Test. A man comes to Socrates to tell him something about a friend. Socrates stops him and says, "Before telling me anything, let's put it through the triple filter test." The man is surprised, but he agrees, and Socrates begins, "Triple filter test. The first filter is truth. Are you absolutely sure that what you are about to tell me is true?" says Socrates. The man replies, "Well, no. I just heard about it." Socrates interrupted, "All right, so you don't even know if it's true. Now let's try the second filter, the filter of goodness. Is what you are about to tell me about my friend something that's good?" The man replied, "No, on the contrary." Socrates interrupted again, "So you want to tell me something bad about him, but you're not certain it's true. Let's try the final filter, the filter of usefulness. Is what you want to tell me about my friend going to be useful for me?" The man replied, "Not really." Socrates concluded, "Well, if what you want to say is not true, not good, nor useful, then why say it at all?" Intelligent person. Diogenes was once asked how he could tell how intelligent a person was. "By their speech," he replied. They asked him again, "What if the person never speaks?" This time, Diogenes' answer was even more profound. "I've never encountered anyone that wise." Plato's Allegory of the Cave. There were people chained inside a cave from birth. They could not turn their heads, only stare at the wall. Behind them, a fire was burning. Objects passed in front of the fire, casting shadows. To them, those shadows were reality. They knew nothing beyond what they could see. One day, one prisoner was set free. When he stepped outside, the light burned his eyes. At first, he couldn't believe what he saw, but slowly he began to understand the real world. Everything he once believed started to collapse. He returned to the cave to tell the others. When he came, they refused to believe him. Some even said he had gone mad. The light didn't save them, it scared them. And he realized freedom is not something everyone wants.
In the bazaar. Socrates used to walk through the bazaar, and whenever he came across a stall, he would say, "I don't need this, and I don't need that." He would walk away without buying anything. This was his way of showing himself that, for a happy life, he didn't actually need many things. One day, he stopped in front of a market full of luxurious goods. He looked around for a while and then said, "How many things I don't need?" The truth. A man came to Aristotle and asked, "What is truth?" Aristotle placed a heavy stone on the man's back. The man, irritated, asked, "What does this mean?" Aristotle calmly replied, "Truth is a burden that not everyone is ready to carry." The secret of success. A young man once asked Socrates for the secret to success. Socrates invited him to meet by a river the next morning. As they walked into the water up to their necks, Socrates suddenly dunked the young man in. The young man struggled to get out, but Socrates kept him under until he began to turn blue. When he pulled him out, the man immediately gasped for air. Socrates asked, "What did you want most when you were under there?" The boy replied, "Air." Socrates said, "That is the secret to success. When you want success as badly as you wanted air, you will get it."
The bear and the man. In a forest, a bear was being crushed by a snake wrapped around its body. A man passed by, drew his sword and killed the snake, saving the bear. The bear felt grateful. "You saved my life. Let me stay with you." The man hesitated, but accepted. One day, while the man was resting in the forest, a fly landed on his face. The bear tried to chase it away. It came back again and again. The bear got angry. "I must end this," it thought. It picked up a large stone and struck the man's face to kill the fly. The man died instantly. This story from Masnavi, Rumi, shows that a foolish friend is more dangerous than a wise enemy. Fighting with shadow. Plato was walking with his students when they saw a man fighting with his own shadow. The students began to laugh, but Plato calmly said, "Do not mock the one fighting with his shadow. Many people spend their lives fighting with their own darkness without ever truly understanding it." Diogenes' lantern. Diogenes was walking through the streets of Athens during the day, holding a lit lantern. The people around him asked, "What are you doing with a lantern in broad daylight?" Diogenes calmly replied, "I'm looking for an honest man." In other words, even in the midst of crowds, it is difficult to find a truly virtuous person.
The only constant thing. Heraclitus was standing by a river. He was silently watching the water. He said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." People looked at him in confusion. "How is it not the same river?" they asked. The water was flowing and changing every moment. The water from a moment ago was already gone, and so was the person. Then Heraclitus said his final idea. Change is the only constant in the universe. The farmer and the horse. Once upon a time, there was an old farmer who lived in a small village. One day, his only horse ran away into the mountains. The neighbors came to him and said, "What terrible luck! Your only source of livelihood is gone." The old farmer calmly replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, but it didn't come back alone. It brought several wild horses with it. The neighbors came again, this time full of excitement. "What great luck! Now you are much richer." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, but the horse was untamed. It threw him off, and the boy broke his leg. The neighbors came once more. "What a terrible misfortune! Your son is injured." The farmer replied, "Maybe." Sometime later, a war broke out. Soldiers came to the village to take all the young men to the army, but when they saw the farmer's son's broken leg, they left him behind. The neighbors returned again. "What great luck! Your son was spared." And the farmer said, "Maybe."